Thank you.
Mrs. Henson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Admiral. Thank you so much for coming before our committee today, and I look forward to this opportunity to speak with you. And I want to talk about an area that's very important for my district. We sit right along the upper Mississippi River. The city of Dubuque obviously hosts the Coast Guard cutter Waiakanda. A priority for me to ensure that the Mississippi River is protected and maintained also. So I think it's a stability issue for our regional economy and really for our global supply chain as well, which is why it's a priority for me. So I want to say thank you for the work that you do to make sure that the Coast Guard is supported there. And can you just describe to me how the requested funding would aid in making sure that that installation is still supported and that we can continue to prioritize critical infrastructure along the upper Mississippi and lower Mississippi River?
Yep. So thank you, and I appreciate the support of the committee for our waterway commerce cutter acquisition, the WCC. The 24 budget includes $98 million to begin constructing the first two of the waterway commerce cutters, and also includes money for long lead time material for an additional two. We are excited about the design for, there's two variants for those ships. They will be replacing cutters. If you've visited, these are very old cutters in need of updated new hulls, and we are excited to be on budget for that. The FY24 UPL includes $48 million to build out home ports in Sault Ste. Marie and Memphis, and we are working through prioritizing the investments that are needed to ensure that we meet and are able to ensure reliable, safe commerce flows on our inland rivers, Mississippi and others.
Right. Well, and especially as we have conversations about other parts of the world that are facing those challenges, it is absolutely a priority to make sure we can protect this region at home. So I'm glad to hear that you share that priority and look forward to working with you to make sure we can execute on that mission. Speaking of areas around the world, obviously the Coast Guard's mission in Indo-PACOM is critical, especially with what's happening with the Chinese Communist Party's aggression, making sure we're focused on securing our allies in the region and protecting maritime security. Can you describe a little bit the efforts that the Coast Guard maintains to stabilize Indo-PACOM region, but also what the current relationships are with our strategic partners in the region?
You know, we are committed to the Indo-Pacific region. The capabilities, the expertise, the professionalism that the U.S. Coast Guard brings to difficult, particularly maritime problem set, is valued around the world and is eagerly sought around the world. And our allies and partners around the Pacific are actively seeking engagement with the United States Coast Guard. The 23 budget had $41 million to provide increased presence and engagement in the Indo-Pacific. We are fielding an Indo-Pacific support cutter. We've identified it as the Harriet Lane, and that cutter will arrive into Honolulu before the end of the year, and will work out of there for a couple years as we work through where the final home port will be. On the UPL, we have signaled $400 million, which would buy an additional 4 fast response cutters. That would increase our ability to create presence in the Pacific. The fast response cutters have been incredibly capable assets for us. We have them fielded in Guam and Honolulu now, and they're doing great work engaging the kinds of partnership and engagement that our allies value. And then mobile training teams, just bringing our expertise to nations where they are, whether it's how to do a illegal fisheries boarding, small engine repair, small boat maintenance and operations, and we will continue to lean into that as well.
And if you could follow up with our office with some of the countries that you've been doing that work with, that would be helpful, because we are working, obviously, I had the opportunity to meet with the president of Taiwan just a few weeks ago, and I think continuing to show force of strength in that region is going to be critical to countering China's influence in the region. Obviously, we know they are continuing to spread propaganda, misinformation throughout that region. Are you actively countering those efforts as well? Obviously, you're talking about some of the on-the-ground training and tools that you're using. Are you doing anything to counter the misinformation and the propaganda?
Yeah, I mean, our value proposition is in that competitive space, short of conflict, and so where we've got expertise skill, are a partner of choice. We are bringing that to the region and welcome the opportunity to highlight that, it's it's a double-digit number of countries that we've engaged in. I've spent time in Fiji meeting with 20 of our partners throughout the Pacific to talk about maritime security, maritime governance. Look forward to getting back to you with that.
Wonderful. Do you think that this budget request allows you the bandwidth necessary to complete those critical missions?
So the budget request is supportive of that. As I've indicated, our UPL signals opportunity for additional investment, particularly in fast response cutters, to allow us to become sort of less episodic and more persistent with regard to some of the threats in the region.
All right. Thank you, Admiral, and I will yield back. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Ms. Simpson. And that Chair now recognizes Sheriff Rutherford.
Thank you, Mr.
Chairman.
Chairman.